At this moment, Bridges TV finds itself covering a historic moment in our country's history. Not since World War II has an entire community been monitored and held under suspicion, and a recent surveillance controversy with the NYPD speaks to the essential balance in our nation, preserving the rights and liberties of its people and keeping us safe. Here on Bridges TV, we are offering a platform for that discussion, away from the quick cuts and polarizing sensationalism of big cable news shows, but to keep offering community members and critics alike a voice to talk about these essential issues. The past weeks have seen several press conferences and demonstrations here in New York City. The week began with a demonstration at One Police Plaza in support of the NYPD and its surveillance programs. The video you are watching now is from that previous Monday. Upon closer look, the organizers from the Monday pro-NYPD protest include the narrator of the Third Jihad film that was controversially shown to NYPD police officers. I spoke with him.
And we're here to support them. If there has been wrongdoing, we want them corrected, but there's really been no laws violated, and their programs have kept America and New York City safe.
Also there were other groups who participated in the making of the film.
And we need the law enforcement to keep us all safe, and we are on their side, and we refuse to allow anybody to create problem in our name.
Critics say the organizations came from across the country but do not represent local communities.
There were only 4 people here from New York. The rest of the people were from Canada, which is obviously they are not Americans, right? And then you had folks from Arizona and Maryland, right? So the fact that these folks could not bring together Muslim New Yorkers who support the NYPD spying on Muslim communities, for me, is very questionable, and I hope that the media questions them on that point.
Further criticism alleges that those who started the press conference are tied to the producers of the Third Jihad film, known as the Clarion Fund, a group with an agenda to fight Islamic extremism founded by Canadian-Israeli film producer Raphael Shore. So do we find ourselves in the midst of social, religious, and political battles from abroad? How will the NYPD work now with the greater Muslim communities here in the U.S., here in New York City, Muslim Americans, to overcome a breakdown in trust that has even led to one FBI officer coming forward to say we are less safe as a result of the breakdown in NYPD Muslim relations? With the screening of what many Muslims consider a propaganda film to police officers, Fahad Ahmed of Drum, Daisies Rising Up and Moving, says an apology is due.
They are paid for by taxpayers' money, by public monies, and so they have to be accountable to the public at large and have to be transparent to the extent that it's possible for them to continue their work. And in order for that to happen, you know, some of us are speaking out as advocates, but what we really need, what we've seen in the history of this country, is change really only comes about when communities themselves get involved.
Others say the film unapologetically portrays the grim reality of a world that has seen 18,000 bombings by Islamic extremists since 9/11, a global threat that must be monitored across the boards. There is no fiercer and unapologetic critic than Pamela Geller, who says there's no apology needed for widespread surveillance if it means keeping the American people safe.
What was the flag raised with the Times Square bomber? What was the flag raised with the Christmas Day bomber? Where was the flag raised with Major Hassan, who slaughtered 13 of our soldiers at Fort Hood? The very idea that the NYPD, who has kept us safe, and across this country there have been over 45 Islamic attacks that have been thwarted. There have been over 200 arrests of Muslims that were plotting jihad. How did that happen? It happens with vigilance.
Both critics and those in support of the NYPD have had a voice here on Bridges TV. This was from community leader Mohammed Razvi of Brooklyn.
We have to sit down at the table and take the next steps. How we're going to prevent this from happening again, and how do we assure that we're going to be working collectively? Because the works that the NYPD and the federal law enforcement has done reaching into the community is great. But unfortunately, because of these things that have happened, we are very concerned about it, and we want to move forward, trying to figure out how to build those relationships again.
Fahad Ahmed of Drum is critical of recent NYPD meetings with community leaders. A recent press release forwarded by Drum and a broad coalition of Muslim organizations reads, quote, NYPD continues to meet with hand-selected individuals, exclude critics. But by their own admission, according to Drum's legal and policy director, Ahmed, some activists declined attending the meeting, as only, they say, 24 hours of notice were given by the NYPD. But they were invited. And so they are continuing to protest as recently as today. This time, those against the NYPD are standing in One Police Plaza. We can be certain of one thing: dialogue is crucial more than ever. And it's our mission here at Bridges TV to present you with all sides of the story, all points of view, so you can keep it here on Bridges TV, and the conversation can continue.